presenting for EDU 723, my presentation on the 3 trends that I feel will most affect our future as far as education is concerned. The first trend I'll be exploring is the biggest problem facing education, and I think that the problems that we have today with that is relating to a recent poll given to Americans was that a concern that is facing American education is that we're not going to have enough funding or financial support for our schools. I do believe that this will grow in importance and not become less as time goes by. Right now we know we're getting squeezed by different things as far as being a charter school, because we are seeing that many of the schools are saying that they're not going to pay our bills because we're charter and so on. And we're also seeing at the government level the aspect of them actually trying to take away our funding as well, or reduce the funding we get for students. So I do see this as a true concern, particularly for us as a cyber charter school, that we do need to address immediately. One of the requests, part of this program, is to discuss not only opportunities and threats to us, but also a timeline. And I feel that this is an urgent need for us to consider at this time as a way to have alternate funding in place, so that when these laws are enacted, which seem inevitable, we will be able to stand and continue on with our mission as a cyber charter school. And one of the things one of the threats I think we obviously have is that we could run out of money. Our school would have to be run differently. I do really feel opportunities though on this is that we have already begun to be more efficient and more effective in the way we use our funding and our money. I believe our central administration has done a great job of actually helping us achieve a lot of that efficiency and effectiveness. And I do believe there could be one other thing we could possibly do though as an opportunity, and that would be I believe we should begin this school year, and obviously really trying to strive for funding in the next 3 to 5 years, to get some grants and look eventually at getting funding through applying for grants as an ongoing initiative, because if we wait until money evaporates, we'll be too late in starting that initiative. So I think we need to dive into it, start asking for a few project-based grant proposals, and then after acquiring a few of those, we can apply for larger grants that would help support the general budget goals. And I do feel that I know somewhat about this. My husband does it professionally, but also, and I have some ideas for myself this year to start just for our local center in Philadelphia to apply through PNC and some other funders to try to get some money for us, and project-based funding at this time. I do believe though that we do need to start this process right away, so that we have a reputation of not only getting grants to us, but also then once we have success in that and show that we will be good users of that money, effective users, we will then be more apt to be granted by larger foundations with the grants that I think we'll eventually really need, which will help fund our basic budget. My second trend is charters, vouchers, and choice. Americans continue to embrace the concept of charter schools. And the poll that I studied shows a result of 70% approval rating for this movement at this time. This gradually has increased over 10 years since the question has been asked. Support for charter schools is strongest among less than 40 years of age group, and also Republicans registered. This was a 76% and 77% respectively. The poll that was given felt that Americans would rather see students attend school without restriction, or in other words, that they should be able to have a choice. And that really is great for us in our business, because we really need the politics behind that choice. And the one part that still has a low approval rating in this category is vouchers. They have received the lowest approval rating, with only a 1 in 3 will allow students to choose a private over a public school and 10 with public dollars. Actually, that actually helps. PA Cyber is a public school, so as far as we're concerned, I guess the voucher staying low as it is a good thing. The important thing I think for us now is that we need to, our threat about this is that, as happens historically, events become at the height of popularity can then begin to slide backwards. So I can see that being as a threat to us. I believe we need to blend more online with education, with actual teaching labs that give hands-on experience for math, writing, science, and technology. This will encourage the formation of a healthy interdependence between online and brick and mortar. And I do think the idea of click and brick is valid. The twist that would make it cutting edge is to add live labs where actual teaching or instruction is occurring. Currently, the sites serve as study hall environments where social interaction and tutoring occurs. We do have small group support, which is also conducted by our guidance counselor, which I also think is valuable. And so the threat clearly is that we are at the very top of our game now, and in other words, we're very popular, and what often happens in situations is, of course, things go backwards. So for us to keep moving forward, I believe the integration of some live classroom teaching really pointed at strengthening science, math, and writing will make a tremendous difference in terms of our overall fight to stay on top of the market. So my recommendation would be that we market our virtual classroom more. This vehicle is cutting edge and has only improved since its inception. When I first was hired 7 years ago as a virtual teacher and instructional supervisor, we were just starting that. We have gone miles since then, and I believe that as I've interviewed many families who have come from other charter and cyber charter schools and even brick and mortars, our reputation for virtual teaching far surpasses anyone else in this particular area. So I see that as a great strength we have, and I think we should actually market it more and have some samplage maybe out there in the market so people can actually see what we do. And I also would like to see brick and mortar laboratories established to promote live instruction in technology, science, math, and writing. These labs could be held in support centers already in place. Another option would be to add these labs into the click and brick setting as a part of the student's daily schedule. I believe this should be ready by next school year. The last trend I'm discussing is preparing students for the future. I believe the best way to reach the 21st century learner is to take into consideration their individual differences and include their learning styles, learning orientations, preferences, and needs in learning to allow learners to engage and be responsible for their own learning, retain information longer, and apply the knowledge more effectively. We'll have positive attitudes toward the subject and have more interest in learning materials and have higher scores and higher intrinsic motivation. Based on the review of previous research, online personalized learning environment is the best learning medium for individual difference approach, and that it impacts on students' achievement and satisfaction in learning. However, the learning environment needs to provide new information, context learning, and practice, feedback, transfer, organizations, and attention devices. Therefore, interactivity is a must in the online personal learning environment. Samia, Yaha, and Ali in 2001 state that we need to continue to seek ways to have students personalize their learning. They also have found that students need interactivity to show gains in student achievement. This does suggest that using Facebook-like interaction would in turn affect student achievement in a positive way. My hunch is that we will see some improvement with on-site support. These researchers do support my hypothesis that online learning can stand alone as long as it offers forums for discussion between students and teaching staff. I am a constructivist teacher who acts as a facilitator and encourages my students to discover principles and construct knowledge within a given framework or structure. The perceived threat of this trend is that we need to show or market the ability that we have to personalize education for each child. I believe that we have what it takes. We just need to adjust some of our resources. I believe the instructional supervisor should continue to guide the education for each student, and I believe that this needs to be a bit more exact by developing a student success plan for which we now use for troubled students to guide their way. We are the place where future education can be born. We need to continue some of our current structure and refine some other. I believe in some respects we should modify, for example, admissions to incorporate more online aspects and make use of Polycoms that we have in place. Perhaps more could happen through email, Skype, Polycom, and faxing with docs that support enrollment. When a difficult student candidate comes to us, then we would need for further investigation or an online on-site visit. Many dollars could be saved through avoiding admission to hotel events. I believe using the student success plan that we're currently used for failing could be used as a way to develop a more personalized approach for each child. We need to continue to explore the aspect of having students use more technology and stimulate more student motivation and provide greater student personalization. The time frame for this should be now, planned to be now for you starting to implement some of these ideas by next school year. I have two folks that I've taped as part of my presentation. One is Mr. Eric Wolfel. He's the director of the Eastern Support Center, and he is giving his thoughts on future of education, where he thinks we should go, and it's regarding my actual research project, which is looking at blended learning. And the other person who I've videotaped is Miss Candace Manley, who is a teacher in the Baltimore School District of Maryland, and she's talking about motivating her students to have better, more effective student achievement through the use of the Title I funding and dollars that their school has been given. So I thought that would relate to all three of these trends I picked. I thought it was interesting to hear two in the field who are working, one from our own school, PA Cyber, and one from an alternate school, that is that brick and mortar building. I hope you enjoy hearing their comments.
At Northeast Elementary School, to qualify as a Title I school, you have to have at least 42% or more free and reduced lunch. We were up to 56% free and reduced lunch, and so out of our 507 students, 56% of them get free and reduced lunches, so which qualifies us for Title I status. With a Title I status, we get additional funds that we use to educate the families, educate the students, and bring them back up to what other schools have. In our school, all the students get free breakfast every day. They get free books 8 times a year given to them. They also have the technology in the classroom. Every classroom has a smart board. Every classroom has 6 computers. We have 2 computer labs with 28 computers in the computer labs. We also put the money into programs that we offer at our school. We also put the money into staffing. We have 5 Title I paras. We have 1 behavior coach that we fund with the Title I money. We have a family involvement advisor, and we have a Title I teacher that we fund with the money also.
All right, so it sounds like a wonderful program and a lot of money is put into it. Do you know exactly how much money you used last year for Title I school?
Around $400,000 is what was used in the Title I, in our Title I budget. And we used a large percent in the family involvement area, involving families in the education process, getting them into the school, getting them learning.
What we see as a future for schooling in America. So Eric, what are some things you see as coming?
Sure. Like you said, we've been talking a little bit this morning about the future of education and schooling in America. And my personal opinion is for traditional schools, I could see traditional schools taking more of a blended approach, not only here in Pennsylvania, but across the country. The reason for that is that technology has become increasingly essential in education. Our traditional schools are trying to find different modes to reach their students, to reach students across the state, and also across the world. And what better way to do it than the use of technology? For online schools like PA Cyber, it's kind of the opposite approach, which is funny in a way. That PA Cyber, we've been around for 12 years. We feel confident that our online approach, we feel confident that we are heading in the right direction as far as online education is concerned. But what we're hearing from our parents is the need for more face time. And that's what we're doing. We're kind of working in the opposite direction of the traditional school. So I see online schools offering more enrichment, supplemental opportunities that bring families in to have face time with them. So traditional schools, more online approach. Online schools, more of a traditional approach. That's